When somebody's the president of the United States, the authority is total. And that's the way it's got to be.
The authority is total.
It's total. And the governors know that. The federal government has absolute power. It has the power. As to whether or not I'll use that power, we'll see.
We'll see. There you have President Trump says his office holds the power when it comes to reopening the economy. But critics are pushing back, saying that's up to each state. So what does the Constitution say? Well, you know who we're going to call in for this. Fox News senior judicial analyst and host of Liberty File on Fox Nation, Judge Andrew Napolitano, by the front picture window at his house. Judge, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
So who has the power? Is the president's power absolute, or do times like this, when it's a question of federal government versus state government, the states have the power?
Well, the latter has historically been the case. In areas of health, safety, and welfare, the 10th Amendment expressly reserves the power to regulate for those areas to the states. So the federal government can help out with cash. It can help out with resources, it can help out with information, and it can help out with guidelines. But in terms of the actual power, for example, to reopen Broadway theaters, to reopen stadiums, to reopen restaurants, to reopen other parts of the economy that have been shut down, it is the governors who have shut them down, and it is the governors who will make the decision to open it up. There are things, however, that the president and Congress can do. One of the ways that Congress gets to regulate in local areas is by giving states money to conform to congressional will. Now, some people call this bribery, others call this largesse. But, for example, when the Congress wanted to lower speed limits during a gas crisis 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it gave the states money to repave federal highways in return for lowering speed limits. So if Congress were to say to Governor Cuomo, there's $100 million to supplement the loss of your state tax revenue, in return, open up Yankee Stadium and open up Broadway, he'd probably take the money to do that. But if he rejected the money, or if Congress didn't offer the money, the decision is the governor's and not the president's.
Right. One of the things that I've heard a lot from my friends, Judge Napolitano, is during this time when the government is trying to restrict people's movements and things like that, is there is some overreach, and wondering whether or not at the end of this pandemic some of our civil liberties are going to be gone. One instance is some are upset that the Attorney General has decided that he's come out with instruction to local governments on the use of drones to make sure that people are actually staying at home. You could argue that a drone is just like a squad car. You send it out to see where people are. What do you think about that?
I think it's an extreme overreach. Steve, I was discussing this with our colleague Tucker Carlson last night, and I said then, and I repeat now, we are witnessing the slow death of civil liberties in the name of public safety. So when a drone hovers over you, that is surveillance, and surveillance is a search. This is not me. This is the Supreme Court. And a search can't go on without a search warrant. Do we really want to live in a society where a piece of plastic and metal in the sky is going to start yelling at us because we're too close to our neighbors? In Michigan, it's illegal to buy a garden hose. A garden hose, it's April. This is the time of year people buy garden hoses. So I think that some of the governors who have the authority to regulate for health, safety, and welfare have taken too much of that authority and have taken too much civil liberty away from us.
Okay.
The question is, will we get it back when this is over?
Right, exactly. What will everything look like? And the sooner the better. Judge, thank you very much for joining us live.
Of course, Steve.
Charles Payne.